All right, so seems now we're live. Episode 4, Urban Dimension. We're here with Christy.
Yeah, what's up? I'm here. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so we're here. We're recording our fourth episode, Urban Dimension. We got Christy here. Um, let's start off with the obvious. How was your experience with Hurricane Zeta?
Ooh, so righteously, I didn't even know a hurricane was coming. I was down here in New Orleans, but I had plans to go home to Mobile, which is only 2 hours away. So
Hmm.
Tuesday I went home, I hit the road, and then I was hearing that it was a storm coming, but I didn't know it was a hurricane. And so when I touched down in Mobile, all my family calling me like, "Christy, you good? You good? A hurricane coming straight to New Orleans." And I was like, "Actually, I'm here with y'all." And so everybody kind of chilled that tone down then. But it didn't hit us too bad in Mobile. Just, a lot of rain per usual. And then my lights were out here in New Orleans, my roommate told me. But yeah, my experience wasn't too bad. I know a lot of people power still out.
Is your
Yeah.
is your power still out? You said.
Nah, mine is back on. It came back on the next day, which I'm surprised because y'all know how they do us out here in the east in New Orleans.
Facts. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could say about my experience. It wasn't too bad.
Hmm.
Uh, I want to say like Wednesday, the day of. It was kind of fine up until like 6. I want to say pretty much until like the eye of the storm came and it was like above New Orleans,
Right.
and then power just goes out. I was like, oh damn, okay, well, it is what it is. But like, it was starting to get dark too, so I was just sitting in the house and like we just lit candles and stuff and we were just waiting. And all I could really do was just I was kicking it with my cousin. We were just talking about different stuff, and we talked for a few hours until it got late, and we just went to sleep. And I was just like, man, it was so hard trying to sleep with like no air conditioning, no fan, nothing.
Hmm.
So uh, after that, I just fell asleep, and I think the power came on at like 2 a.m. for me. So I was just like, yes. So I turned everything back on. I went back to sleep, and I was just happy compared to like a lot of other people because their power out was out for days.
Yes, some of my coworkers' power still out.
Yeah, I got frustrated too because like the next day, I think Thursday, like everything was fine, and then Friday, my power went out again.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think Aries had it pretty decent. I heard his power was on the whole time.
It sure was. But I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm kind of glad I don't live in New Orleans no more because I couldn't be doing that. That's just had your power going out. You ain't got no groceries. That's a lot of doing, man.
Yeah,
That's too much.
Air.
yeah, that's crazy. Um, I saw like on like Twitter and stuff. Like some people, one girl, she was like, "Yeah, I had just gotten groceries, and then bam, like she got it for the storm, I guess. Like she wasn't thinking properly." She said, and then her power went out. And she was just like, "Shit, I spent $150 on food, and all that shit about to go bad."
Yeah. Yeah, she wasn't thinking. She don't know like the proper procedure for hurricane shopping.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it kind of just is what it is. It's been a tough year, and it's funny too because it's like as a New Orleans native, like I can't remember a time when we've had so many different storms and like just different natural disasters. So it's like that 2020 vision. So much shit's going on.
Right.
You had like four, right? 4 or 5.
We've had like I mean that fully hit around here. I think it was like maybe like 7,
Oh,
and it was just like they've had so many develop now, and it's so weird because some of them go different ways or whatever, and then there's something else that's in like the Caribbean right now, and then I think in the Philippines they got hit with like the craziest typhoon ever. So it's like that global warming shit, man.
Yeah, the world going up.
It's not only with the weather; they got other stuff too. Like,
Um, like what?
like what's today? Monday. Tomorrow's election day.
Oh,
Hey, I've been a little anxious about that. I ain't gonna hold you,
mm,
but
how come?
I don't know. I can't say it's really because of the outcome. Because I feel like it's gonna be strife. Um, whoever wins, you know what I'm saying. But I don't know. It just make me anxious because it's been a hell of a year already, and so you got all these people that's gonna be tweaking.
What about you, Aries? How you feel about tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I don't know. I'm kind of. I don't want to say nervous, but like I just know whoever wins, it's not gonna be good. Cause
Yeah.
I, cause I be seeing on Twitter like the Trump supporters, they are really wilding out with the whole election and shit. And I just know after tomorrow, it's gonna be really bad.
Fuck it.
That's that
Yeah,
motto. Fuck it.
yeah. Personally, how I feel about everything, I got a package coming in the mail tomorrow, so that's my kind of top priority. I just hope that's cool.
Yeah.
But as far as like politics go, sheesh, that's a lot to unpack. It is so crazy. Like everything outside of politics has been insane for this year. So when you add in like the dimensions of like politics and everything, I think it's just crazy. Because I remember before, like when quarantine was first starting, like March, um, for us at least, everything was kind of everybody was on like the fuck Trump kind of kick, but now situation sort of got even greater because it's like he's not handling the quarantine thing properly. So then you got like the Black Lives Matter movement like kicking off with George, like the instances with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, everything going on, and like that never fully really died. That's there's just different protests and unrest everywhere else, and then it's like people are saying like, oh, there might be a race war and all this crazy stuff, and it's just like we're still in a quarantine and it's November now.
Hmm.
Halloween just passed, and I'm just like, fuck, like what else is next? So I mean, how I feel, I'm an optimist. I was just like, I just hope like the COVID-19 thing kind of dies down. Politics is just like it's gonna be the same shit, but I just hope we get out of the pandemic.
Right.
I'm glad you brought up the COVID stuff because I feel like it ain't going nowhere no time soon because just looking at stuff from Halloween, you see all these niggas out here partying and got no mask on. It's all close together. You know, it's only gonna get worse. And plus, the winter's coming up, so that brings flu season. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, man. Future once said, "Mask off." People are taking that literal for the Halloween season, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I saw the other day like we had like 100,000 cases in one day or something in the U.S.
That's
So
ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't see a decline happening anytime soon.
yeah. There's a lot of different stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
So like on one side you got that going on, and then you have the vaccine side, and other people saying like I think it's a crowd uh or herd. I can't think of the word, but I guess like immunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
herd immunity.
Personally, I'm not kind of subscribing to that belief. Like I'm staying my ass inside.
As you
No facts. I'm doing the same, man. But on a brighter note, since we don't, want to make this a political podcast,
Mhm.
Christy, I noticed that you had got into modeling recently. Like, how did you like get into that? Uh, the modeling scene and stuff like that.
So it's really funny because I got a partner, and we always be talking about like you know me modeling or taking pictures or whatever you may have it. And I really, for some reason, don't want to label myself as a model. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. I'm conflicted about that. Like when people try to say, "Oh, you an influencer or you a model," I don't rock with it. Maybe because of the connotation in my mind. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't rock with it. But so I got a homegirl. Her name's Stella. Shout out to Stella. And I took some pictures with my boy back home, and his name is Sesame. And so um when I took pictures with him, it got a lot of acknowledgement, and she ended up DMing me and she asked, was I a model? And I was like, I'm not, but apparently people are trying to make me one. And
Mm.
she was like, "Well, would you like to shoot?" So I'm like, "Sure, I'm down." So, she sent me a couple concepts and I chose one that I would be, interested in. And so that's how the shoot with the orange came about. And that was back in, say, August. And so that was pretty fun. And then I had a homeboy earlier this summer and he asked me would I be interested in modeling his clothing line. So I was like, sure, I'll tap in. So we kept in touch and we ended up doing a shoot in North Alabama. So those two were like right behind one another. Like the orange shoot preceded the clothing line shoot. So I chilled out until last week. And I got another partner at home, and he has a store in our mall, and he asked me during the summer to model some clothes, but with me being in and out of town, I couldn't do it immediately. And so
Mm-hmm.
I tapped in with him while I was at home. It just so happened that I was home, for an extended time period because of the hurricane. And I was like, if you still want to shoot, I'm willing to do that. And so that's how I did the Secret Scientist shoot with the tracksuits.
Mm.
Mhm. And then I had went home with intentions to do the shoot with Stella. And we had already come up with the concept of the tennis court shoot. And so that was really fun. But y'all, that hurricane brought some cold air, so it was like nippy as fuck out that bitch. Like, so I had like chill bumps on my arm. So the pictures that she had like, to edit that stuff out. It was too funny. But we had a really good time. We always have fun when we're shooting. So um right now I just consider the modeling thing to be a hobby. But
Mm.
it's potential there. And so I'm gonna let it do what it do. Hopefully I start making some money off of it because I ain't gonna be doing too much free promo, you feel me?
Yeah. That's actually really funny. That's humble of you. First off, I think it's really cool. Um, I think my experience, I'll try to relate. Like, I always aspire for like with music. Like, I'll play some of my stuff and I like my music, but it's like I think when your work speaks for itself with anything, whatever you do, I think that's really cool. So it's like for you to be like, oh, I don't even call myself a model. Everyone else calls me a model.
Hmm.
That's like some G shit. That's real cool. But it makes sense though, because I think like I'll see you like on different like social media platforms. I'll just be like, oh my gosh, that's Christy. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how is she doing that? Or it's really funny. Or like I think one day I saw you with like currency and like a picture, so I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, how does Christy just snap up with currency? So it's just funny seeing you do a whole bunch of different stuff. But I support and definitely no more free promo. I see that. Get paid.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Spitter. I love Spitter. Like, I remember when I was a little kid and my brother put music on my MP3 player, and I remember Spitter being one of the first people on my MP3 player. And so like, here we are at 21, and I never would have imagined like, living in New Orleans and like running into him, and I ain't gonna say being around the people that he be around, but he's so down to earth, and so is the people that he kick it with. So you run into all of them all the time in New Orleans on some stuff.
Yeah, I think that's funny.
That's dope.
Actually, yeah. Oh, do you want to take the floor, man?
No, you good. I was just commenting on what she said, but also actually, since we're on the topic of music, time to get a nitty gritty question out the way.
Uh oh. Uh oh.
Who do you think is underrated or overrated in, you know, today's music scene or even in the past,
You said in the past, or
either present or past?
okay, so like underrated. I think my girl Chica is
Yeah,
really underrated. Like, granted, she was on Double XL, the freshman cover this year, but I think that people need to start tapping in with her because she fire.
I agree.
Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting. Uh, I'll ask. I'll give a comment and then ask another question.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chica is because we when we had I think what our first podcast we were talking about like the cipher,
Mm-hmm.
and we were slightly disappointed with her freestyle. It wasn't that we thought it was bad. It was just like we expected her to be like very like above tier for like okay best person. If she's not in like the one or two, then like what's going on?
Right.
But for really like the person that really showed out the most was really like Mulatto. Uh, who else? Aries.
It was what's his name? 24K Golden had a good verse. Jack Harlow had a good one. And what's that dude name? He worked with Pop Smoke. Oh, 5 Year Foreign, I believe is he had a good one.
Oh, but who's the guy that was it Polo G? Who was it that no beat
Oh, Polo G.
acapella?
Yeah, Polo G.
Yeah, I think it was either like Polo G, Jack Harlow, or like Mulatto. Like that was like easily seen as either the top three. And she didn't sound bad, but it just I felt like it wasn't a full like a good service to introduction of what she's really capable of.
I feel you. I feel you. To be honest with you, like I remember seeing clips of, the cipher, but I didn't watch the whole thing in its entirety, like, straight through. So
I don't blame you. You
I
didn't
wanted
miss
to check
much.
Yeah,
that.
you don't miss much.
Wow.
But nah, that's great.
And Chica from, Alabama, so I gotta support the home team.
Oh, I didn't know she was from Alabama.
Yeah, I think she's from Montgomery though. I think she's from North Alabama. But speaking of, Mobile popping they stuff, we got Rallo Rodriguez,
Hmm.
No Cap, Flo Millie, MGM,
Yeah,
all of them. They just doing their stuff. They showing that the fashion scene, everything is growing. It's a hot commodity right now. So
that's what's up. I was actually gonna ask you about that.
mhm.
Segueing from Chica, what do you think about women in rap right now?
Mhm. Ooh,
As far as like maybe Chica, Flo Milli, Mulatto, Meg, whoever.
I think it's amazing to see, like a resurgence of black women in hip hop. Cause this is not like the first occurrence, you know what I'm saying? Like if we go back a couple years, you got Missy, you got Lauren Hill, I consider her a rapper too. Left Eye, my girl, the Brat, all of them just up there. You feel me? Like I look back at those videos and I'm just like, these women, they was doing a thing like black women the shit. Like point blank period.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really hyped to see like, you know, them keeping this momentum. That's what I'm hoping for.
Mm.
It's really interesting to see and I'm loving it right now. You got the young women. Um we still standing Nicki Minaj. I'm still a Nicki fan. Cardi. All of them, they amazing for real, and they got your attention. Like regardless of if you like their music or not, they all got your attention.
Ah, that's true. Well, how do you feel about WAP?
Ooh, so I remember when it first dropped, and I was at home Well, I came home, I think that weekend that it dropped, and all my older family members, they like, y'all heard that song about that wet ass pee? And so I was laughing, I was joked out. So I ain't say nothing because I like the song. I'm digging the song, but I wasn't finna just be like, you know, um, it's the shit to me. And so, but I really like the song. The video, I like that. Even though people always try to push out they controversial tips on it, like in regards to Kylie and all that stuff. I think it's really fire. That was a hell of a collab,
Oh
and I kind of think it was overdue. You feel me? Like, but it it had your attention for real. Like I said.
Oh yeah,
Mm,
I definitely agree with what you said. It definitely got people's attention, and also brought like a not a cultural shift, but it kind of it brought new slang into people's vocabulary because
Yeah.
nobody was saying WAP before.
Right, right. And in terms of like us talking about, a political stance and everything, and going back to the women in hip hop, of course, you got all these women, like I said, they got your attention, um, in regards to their sexual expression, all of that. And I think that's important. Like, you got some conservative people like, oh, that couldn't be me, but I mean, that also couldn't be them, being conservative and all secretive about them having sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are we to say
retweet.
that? Yeah, who are we to say that they wrong for letting it all hang out? Cause
Yeah,
you can't tell. I mean, they can't tell you that you wrong for being discreet about your business. So yeah.
Yeah,
that's what's up. Um, I feel two ways about that. For one, um, I think WAP came at like a perfect time.
Mhm.
So, for one, everyone's inside. Nobody's really doing anything, and like, something that me and Aries were talking about was just like with COVID, everyone's inside, and like a lot of the music that we first were seeing was like way more like I'm at home alone, or just like more emotional and I guess intimate. So we was waiting for bangers. Like we were just like, man, when something cool's gonna come out, like something happy, because it's like we're tired of hearing super sad shit, seeing sad shit on the timeline. We just want something to uplift or just something cool
Facts.
that comes out.
You want to know a funny memory that I'ma always have about WAP? So the song came out, I believe, in August, right?
yeah,
Um, Early August, I went home because I was working in Jackson, Mississippi for the summer doing some research. So I came home, um, I think August 8th, and my granddad birthday was August 12th. And so we kind of had like a parade, like a drive-by parade for him. And my brother, we were all going live and everything on Facebook, Instagram, and my brother was blasting WAP, and my granddad was turning 83. So, like, he blasting WAP driving down the street during our parade, and everybody like, "Oh my gosh, D, I can't believe you playing that song for Granddad." And it was just so funny because my granddad was dancing and stuff, but you he didn't know what he was listening to, and it was just like hysterical. Like, and my granddad passed away like the next month after his birthday in September, so that's just like a funny ass memory, dog. Like,
Oh man,
yeah.
sorry to hear that. That is good though that you were able to get like a funny experience with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was sort of like that was kind of my point, and I'm glad you bring that up because it's like it's human expression,
Mhm.
and I think it's important, especially that rap. When I think of rap, like hip hop, rap, whatever, it was kind of like it came out of like the expression of breaking away. Like fuck the cops, fuck the police, whatever. Break away from authority and really just get out what's inside. So I think it's very important for women, but not only women, just everybody to have that kind of freedom of expression.
Right.
Because it's like if a guy says whatever, anything, like Future's like, I just fucked your bitch in some Gucci flip flops, no one has an issue.
Right.
But if a woman's saying something, just saying what she does, it's like, oh, she a hoe, blah blah blah. We don't want to hear this. Why she always talking about that? And there is a big double standard in music, especially when you have artists like Ariana Grande or Lana Del Rey who are
Mm-hmm.
allowed to be promiscuous with their music. But when
Mm-hmm.
you have women of color, they try to dance around or just say whatever.
Right.
It's an issue. So
Right.
I think it's necessary and important, that let the music do its talking. Like if you have an issue with it and you're conservative, then that's kind of your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
let the women rap about what they want to rap about. Like you expect them to be rapping about like Bible study 24/7. Like, come on now. That just doesn't make sense to me. I really don't like when I see niggas on Twitter being like, "Oh, the female rappers they shouldn't be rapping like this." It doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah. And then if we being honest, dudes be complaining about like women and be like, oh, they always talk about their pussy. Literally every SoundCloud rapper or every dude that like I'm rapping now, it's always like she give me good brain, or it's like these elementary like raps about like sex, and it's like even either that or like drugs, or like it's super basic played out shit, but we don't say anything about it because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And then I think like fuck it. If you don't like it, don't subscribe to it. But like who are you to be like, you know what, you shouldn't be able to make this music. This is evil. Nowadays, this is what women are about. Nobody wants a woman talking about that. Like it's human. Like nothing's new under the sun.
Right.
So I don't see it.
Right. 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 You know, um, also what you saying like nothing being new. I saw like a lot of backlash when it came out, and people were trying to compare them to a different generation of women rappers. And even with the women that I named earlier, they tried to say like Missy Elliott didn't have promiscuous raps, and it's like, dude, that's a fucking lie. Like, that's
Yeah,
not true at all. And then, if we talk about Trina, the baddest bitch, you feel me? Everything that she saying was explicit, vulgar as fuck. Lil Kim
yeah,
too, you feel me? Like one of my favorite Lil Kim songs is Not Tonight. And, she talking about, oh, she wanted some head on the song. Like, we not
yeah,
fucking, I want some head. So I don't know. Yeah, people they get to talking out they asshole a lot of times when it comes to women, and it's a lot of double standards going on.
yeah. Another thing too, I think is an issue, or it's something to be spoken about. I think actually, well, now I'll ask the question like roundtable. Do you guys think an artist's sort of attractiveness or like how they look plays a role in like their music and how it's perceived?
Yeah,
Mm, yes.
yes, especially like in terms of colorism and stuff like that. I definitely see people subscribe to like certain, I want to say stereotypes maybe, because of stuff like that. um a lot is excusable. I know y'all know it's like a lot of controversy around Mulatto's rap name, light skinned Keisha, because of situations. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you're saying like the artists, the music in general that they make, or like the type of music? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I'm either or. The question kind of goes. Well, the idea that I was getting at was just like how someone looks plays a role in how their music's digested. So, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna cast out like my opinion, but I'll just say like just generally like Megan Thee Stallion, whatever. A lot of people found her attractive,
Mhm.
and I guess she's not wearing much clothes in like some of the videos and shit or whatever. Like her chest is out, her ass is out,
Mhm.
and
Hmm.
yeah, niggas like that shit. Niggas didn't have an issue with that,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but you have a problem with what she's saying. But it's like why would you have like why would you get upset with that if you already was cool with just looking at her ass or looking at her like twerking shit?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's like
it's a
I have a
contradiction.
yeah, it's like I have an issue with like a drug dealer smoking, but I see him on the block selling weed or whatever, and I don't get mad. It's like, well, that's a part of the lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think it's cool, or say if Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B make something like that, it's fine. But when you have an artist say maybe like Cupcake, you know, is way different. And actually, I'm glad I thought about this. For the longest, I thought Cupcake was probably one of my favorite like female rappers, just because like I was like, yo, what the fuck? And I thought she had hard ass bars. Um, I just thought she was funny, man. But like a lot of people who would listen to her, or a lot of like what I see online is just like, oh, she's ugly or she's not attractive. Don't nobody want hitters from her.
Yeah.
So that was kind of why I was bringing up the question. Like, do you guys think that if you're not conventionally attractive, or if you're not fitting the media's kind of perception of beauty, do you have like a fair shot at success?
Well, I'll say yes. In simple terms, yes. But you take an artist like how we were talking about Chica compared to Meg, she's not gonna get because Chica's not mainstream, but Meg is mainstream. Yes, she can rap. Yes, but she also had sex sells. So that's basically what it gets down to. Chica's not selling sex. She's selling lyricism and knowledge and stuff like that. Not saying Meg's not, but she ain't got her ass out and she ain't got her titties out. That's why she's not mainstream. So it all gets down to, you know, what they putting out.
How do you feel about that, Christy?
When you talk about a fair shot, I say no because if we talk about like Sweetie, people don't fuck with her music, dog. Like they fuck with her image. Um,
Facts. We do not fuck with Sweetie's music. Have to put it out there. Horrible.
and
Continue.
like her features, I could dig that more than just like her singles or her music. And I love looking at her. I love her image. Like I said, she a bad bitch for real. She made pretty bitch music. People who don't listen to what the fuck going on. Um, but yeah, so a fair shot, no. But like if you got the image, then it's gonna get you there. But when I look at and then like examine music from say like the early 2000s, like that also come with an image too, you know what I'm saying? Like you had to be cute, but you also had to have other stuff, like you had to know how to dance and you had to know how to act. Like when you come with extra, that's gonna get you there.
That's a nice take. That's a nice take.
Yeah, I agree. Do you also feel like, you know, well, this is an open question for anyone. Do you guys feel like, um, talent plays more of a role for the female artist than the male artist?
Yes.
Hmm.
Because a lot of these niggas just be recycled clones of each other, like Gunna clones and Lil Uzi Vert clones. They all be sounding the same. But the female rappers, I find they sound much different from one another. That's why I wanted to see how you guys felt about it.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of people are not receptive to women clones in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember on Twitter at one moment, um, it was a shorty who was a lot like Meg, and she came from this label that Meg had a dispute with. I don't know the name of it, so I can't say. But she came from the same label that Meg had a dispute with, and people were just like, "What the fuck? She copying Meg? This, and that. They trying to remake a Megan." And while I agree because he came from the same people, you know what I'm saying? People were always like also putting out that argument like women can't be clones. Like they gotta be 100 completely original. But in men, like men in hip hop, you can have 1,000 Lil Waynes or 1,000 people trying to mimic Wayne, 1,000 people trying to mimic Uzi, Baby, Thug. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's a double standard all the way around.
Hmm. Um, I'm not completely sure how I feel. I think, well, no, I won't say that the double standard doesn't exist. I think there's some truth in that,
Hmm.
but I don't know the full reason why. But I think it's also kind of like say like literature maybe, like every movie you watch, every song you listen to, it relates back to like a piece of literature, like story or something. Like something's happening, something's going on. A lot of the literature, movies, all that other kind of shit, like it usually, or say like those Greek myths or stories or some shit, they all relate to like some dude doing something, or like I think it's like the patriarchy of just society. A lot of the noble tales or whatever, like most superheroes are men, or like the major people are men, like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. The main people that they want to see is men.
Hmm.
And I think what was the movie with Harley Quinn and the other girls? What was it, like Birds of Prey?
Yeah,
Or
Birds of Prey. Yeah.
yeah, Birds of Prey. When you have something like that, it wasn't received well because I think like a lot of guys didn't want to go see it, because a lot of guys, they're like, well, why I want to go see some women, whatever, blah blah blah. That change in thinking for men is very uncomfortable, I'm assuming,
Hmm.
and they're not used to that. Opposite, flip the script. Women always have to deal with that. That's just an experience. Like it's like if they want to get into superheroes, they damn near gotta like know about all these other guys and take in, like, I guess, information that they don't care about, or stuff that they don't fully relate to. There's all obviously like women superheroes and different stuff like that,
Hmm.
but it's a little different. It's not completely the same. So my idea from that is I just think it's different for women because they have a different role in hip hop. And I'm just using hip hop as an example, but like I think we spoke about this with Chucky the other time, Aries. Like in music, like back then, like a lot of rappers kind of put down women, like, yo, like that's my bitch, or this, that, and that. And like that was a part of hip hop. Or like, I'll beat that dude like a bit, like that was kind of the thing. So for a woman to, I guess, have that kind of take on things would be weird. But it's easier for men to single out women than it is for women to single out men, because there's just more of them. I think that may be the reasoning for it. Like that's me trying to make sense of it, but the double standard exists. I'm not gonna deny that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like with the music scene, I feel like I don't know, for some reason I feel like if there wasn't a double standard at the same time, the music wouldn't be the same. But also at the same time, I feel like there shouldn't be a double standard. You know, everybody should be on the same playing field. I feel like because when there's a double standard, everybody's competing against each other, and then
Mm.
there's that whole what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, when there's a double standard, niggas, they just love to put each other against each other for no reason when there doesn't need to be a competition.
Mm. Well, curveball. I think du- double standards. Some of them exist just because of how, like I said before, like how society's kind of set up. So like things just seem weird to us because like that's how we think they are. But like how would you feel if I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go to my drug dealer and I pull up, right? Or like I go in and a girl comes out.
I mean, well, I mean, she's a drug dealer, so I mean,
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like most typically you're gonna, like, guys are gonna assume that like the drug dealer is a guy,
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
dude.
because yeah, because that's like a macho or violent or rough kind of line of work. You assume like
Hmm.
if they got static, they can handle it. But like I know a lot of female drug dealers. I'm not gonna put them out there, but like you know, so I think they're like if they wanted to, they could, they could like mention that in like some kind of music or some shit. And I think even though that experience is real and relates to them, a lot of guys wouldn't even be willing to accept that because they'd be like, "What? She ain't no damn drug dealer. This girl lying. Like, what kind of shit?" But with dudes, like you, even if you don't know, it fits with what you're used to. So like, I think the double standards aren't like the double standards are not just arbitrarily made. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that. I think it's just what we're used to.
Yeah.
So bringing this back to like WAP, when stuff we're not used to comes up, for me, I celebrate it because it's like that's pushing us forward. That's giving us the ability to kind of like do different shit and broaden our horizons, and like you get introduced to new shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't know who, like what woman may be rapping about drug dealing and doing some crazy shit, but like say 21 Savage, him in general, like I think he's a cool artist, and Savage Mode 2, I really enjoy it. But I'm trying to think of like say maybe like not a complete female counterpart, but like something of that stature I can't really think of. But I would welcome it.
Hey, that's real. I never thought about like if he had an opposite or a counterpart that was like him, but a woman. I don't know who it would be. Right.
That'd be interesting. I'm trying to think because, you know, it wouldn't be nobody like Mulatto or nothing like that. It had to be somebody like closer to, young MA almost, something like that. Hope I said her name right.
Mm.
That's what I would think. That's the only person I could think of that would be that close to, a female opposite of him.
Well, yeah, that's, and I mean I don't have like the answers either. I was just bringing it out, food for thought, because it's like
Yeah.
you expect so much, and not like the narrative isn't really new for what 21 Savage is. He's unique in his own kind of experience, but like, 50 Cent, G Unit, like that gangster rap back then, like in the 2000s, like was at its peak with him.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to imagine it with like someone else or like the opposite gender.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as that goes, we could segue into something else, a different question, you know. Uh, Christy, do you have like a favorite artist?
So I'm more of a lyrics type of person.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite rapper, even though he's kind of like underground, but he been out for years and years and years. His name is Starlito, and he from Nashville, Tennessee. And like, no matter if he dropping new shit or not, I still just I put him at the top of my list as one of my favorite rappers right now.
Okay,
Y'all heard of
respect.
him before?
I can't say that I have, but I'm gonna put him on the list now.
I've
Okay.
Just
I've heard of him, but I haven't like heard a lot of songs from him. I've only heard a few.
Right, right.
that's interesting. I don't think I've heard of too many like Nashville rappers. Usually, it's like if I hear anything out of Tennessee, it's like Memphis.
Yeah,
So that's interesting.
yeah. He let me see. Like he connected with a lot of people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Gates, he used to make a lot of music with Gates. Um Yo Gotti. That's how I think a lot of people got introduced to him through Yo Gotti.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he kind of be like, well, not kind of. He definitely be on his own wave. You feel me? I would put him like in the same category with Currency. Like they, they known, they rappers, and they just be chilling. Like they mind their business. Um, Starlito, his project that he dropped earlier this year was in like June, and it was called Paternity Leave, and excuse me, he didn't have any kids prior to now, and so, and he would always rap about having kids and stuff, and like when he dropped that, it was like, okay, so that's where you been. Like that's why you been super low. You feel me?
Mm.
Yeah.
Similar to Currency. Currency just had a kid.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So I like real chill rappers that be, talking about stuff, rapping about good shit, real shit, trap shit.
Speaking of like lyrical rappers, did you ever get a chance to listen to Benny the Butcher or Busta Rhymes' new album that came out?
I did listen to Benny the Butcher. I did. And I'm a fan now. Yeah. Not Busta Rhymes though.
Yeah, you got to check out that Busta Rhymes. It was pretty dope. He had a song on there with Kendrick, which was his first song of the whole year, and that song was supposed to be on Good Kid, Mad City, but it never came out until now. It's
God,
pretty dope.
Dang. So how old is it?
Like 10 years, something like
It's like a decade old
it's
song. That's
crazy.
crazy.
It's called Look Over Your Shoulder, alright?
that. Yeah, I think it's got
10 years late.
like a Jackson 5 sample on it, I believe.
Mm.
I love samples, y'all. Like everything that got a sample, I'm bumping it. And a lot of times I could just name the samples off gate. Like I love samples
Mm.
so much. That's one of my favorite things.
So do you like it when it's like easy to spot, like you can recognize it, or do you like more obscure, like
Um, Both of them. I can't even say like, but when it's obscure, it be pretty live to me too. Especially because you get that aha moment. It's like, bro, I heard this before. And you listening, and I'm like, yeah, I know what this from.
yeah?
Now,
Mm.
speaking of samples, I hate to bring her back up, but how do you feel when somebody like Sweetie takes a song and just, hops on it? How do you feel about that?
To be honest with you, I try to give people a try. You know what I'm saying? If I listen to the first time and it's a dub, I'ma just act like I never heard it before. Like I'ma block it out my head. Like I listen to like probably the whole song, and then when my ears stop bleeding, I'ma dead it. Be like, yo, this shit suck. Never listen to it again. I wasn't a fan of um like mulatto sampling all that Gucci. Like
Mm.
I wasn't either.
I wasn't a fan, but it's growing on me, especially because you can't go no fucking well without hearing the shit. And like I had tweeted earlier that I look good, good, bitch. I'm fine, fine. That shit been stuck in my head like for a couple weeks.
My thing is, I just feel like some of these artists and producers are just getting lazy with their sampling. Like
Yeah,
you gotta, mess with it. You can't just slap it on a track and that's it.
yeah. Like Kanye samples. I don't think nobody can sample a fucking song like Ye.
Oh no, he's on a different level.
Yes, but you know who samples I love? Y'all listen to Knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's some top tier shit.
Damn. Shout out to Christy. Real nigga award, man. Christy's a real nigga, bro. She really. I'm sorry. Like my eyes literally just lit up when I heard her say knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That that's great production. But I guess my little 2 cents, I guess, to add to it is just like Aries and I are both producers. We've had conversations about samples and whatnot, and how I feel about samples is just like I think like music is music. Express yourself, create whatever. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But my issue is a little bit with like the laziness and the plagiarism aspect of it, because it's like, and I hate to single out Sweetie, but like that tap in wasn't that bad, I guess. But at first, I was instantly kind of like turned off because I'm like, this is too short. Like it's not really that new of a song. Like the instrumental is pretty much the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, why ruin a good song, or why not just leave it alone?
Mm,
Later, I guess like how you said the image thing, kind of, I was like, okay, it's tapping, like it's whatever, like I don't care about it. But I just think going back to the idea too of like clones or people being each other,
mm,
I think it's I think for everyone, inspiration is way cooler than imitation, and that's different from the idea of like people are flattered by being imitated, I guess. So like when people want to be Michael Jackson, I think Michael Jackson would be like cool, people want to be me, that's whatever. But from the outside looking in, I just think it's kind of lame. 500 people wanted like to be Michael Jackson at some point,
yeah.
you know. And I think inspiration is cool. You could take something and like add something to it, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
translate that to a different artist now, Travis Scott. There's one Travis Scott. I don't think there's ever going to be another Travis Scott. So why is there like a billion different people trying to be Travis Scott? Like, why not just try to be, whatever artist that you're capable of being? You could be inspired by him, but I think it's way more important for people to be inspired because it's like Kid Cudi heavily inspired Travis Scott. So it's like if Travis Scott tried to be Kid Cudi completely, we wouldn't have Travis Scott.
Right.
And it's like I'm a Kid Cudi stan, but I love Travis Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I listen to him a whole lot more. So I just think as far as sampling goes, don't limit yourself and just take one song or just take a little piece and make something that's damn near the exact same. I think you should just wild out with it and make something crazy.
Right. Right.
My favorite example is like say bounce music. When Adele first came out, I wasn't too huge on her. She could sing, you know what I mean? She was singing, but like when I heard these like Adele remixes, like these bounce remixes, like Hello from the Other Side,
Good for you, huh?
that shit was rolling. That shit was hitting. Like it it made the song so much better. So I just think that's how I feel about sampling. Like if you could really put your own twist to something, like that's cold.
I think what's so amazing to me about sampling stuff is it gives me kind of a chance to like fall back in love with songs, old music, or some stuff that sample is not even so old, but it just gives me a chance to just fall back in love with music. And so like how you mentioned Adele, I associate that when I was in middle school, you feel me? And I went to school with a lot of white girls and they all around singing Adele. And so I kind of tapped into Adele and I'm like, oh, I love this soulful white woman. You feel me? And so like, coming to college in New Orleans and hearing bounce music all the time, them sampling like Hello from the Other Side, like you said, it just gave me a chance to like fall back in love with Adele, and then also like juxtapose it with something else that I'm in love with. Or like recently I've been steady bumping this Calling on You by excuse me, John B.
Hmm.
Yeah. And Drake sampled that shit on Good Ones Go cameras. And so like when I play both of them back to back for people, they be like, damn, that's crazy, Christy. How you how he sampled that. But if you listen to music, you could just hear it. And it just sounds so beautiful to hear like people make a masterpiece out of something that's already a masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that's like taking a fucking Picasso and then you flip that bitch and you make it whatever you want it to be, but you still know it's a Picasso, but the shit just amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, adding on to what Christy said, I feel like sampling is, timeless in a sense because, for example, I played the song WAP WAP for my parents. I was like, yo, listen to this. And they had heard the song. And so as soon as the song came on, they heard the there's some whores in this house line. And it was
Mhm.
like, oh, this is from a house song back in the day, back when they was in college or something like that. They had
Yeah,
do this song and I was like, I had never heard this song before. So sampling is timeless, man.
yeah, it's time.
yeah. I think I think that was like for a lot of producers back then, and even now, like that's a lot of the fun of sampling.
Mhm.
You know, you find ways to take like your favorite songs or music that you really enjoy, and you make something else that you enjoy, and it's like it's a two-way kind of thing. It's like an inside joke, uh, I guess, with like people who like the songs that you like, and then people with your music too, because it's like, for example, one of my favorite groups, the Death Grips. They're kind of like a punk rock, punk rap kind of. They're a weird genre kind of group, but like I remember when I heard one of their first mixtapes, it's I heard the song and I was just like, wow, that's interesting. That's different. That's cool. And like later, I'm just listening to something completely different. Uh, one of my favorite bands, Pink Floyd. I'm listening to Pink Floyd, and I hear like the same kind of guitar riff, and I'm like, where have I heard this? I heard this. I'm like, the Death Grips. But I was like, oh shit, the Death Grips sample Pink Floyd, because like Pink Floyd, the album I think I'm thinking of, came out in like 1967 or something. So I was just like, whose old ass, or like who the fuck was, who thought to take this and do something like that?
Mhm.
So it made me appreciate both songs a whole lot more,
Mhm.
because it's like a hidden gem kind of thing, you know, like I'm gonna put you on to something like that's like so like discreet, or take the good of something and like you only a few people know about it. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, cause like I said, going back to Kanye, I am a big fan of old Kanye, and like it's one song. What's the name of it? You know the song that goes like, "Why everything is supposed to be bad make me feel so good." Y'all know the name of that
Oh
song?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And on that song, yeah, on that song,
Oh yeah, it's like you make me smile.
yeah, yeah, that song. And on that song, he sampled Etta James, Funny Valentine. And then,
Mhm.
like, I know that because I got old parents, you feel me? So I used to listen to like a whole bunch of Etta James and all that type of stuff. And so like when I'm listening to that song, I'm like, bro, this is amazing. Like people don't know that song most of the time. Like, and if you do know that song, you probably know it from like Shaka Khan like redoing the song. So
Mhm.
it's just beautiful. Like music is beautiful. It's a lot of history in music. You know, sampling. It's amazing. Like I said, give me a chance to fall back in love with stuff that I once knew or I thought I knew about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. You're right. I wholeheartedly, totally agree. You know, and I guess if we were to segue into something else, with hidden gems, not the movie, but do you have any like hidden gems or any info you're willing to disclose with us? You know, just something to put people on.
Mm.
It could be like music or anything, you know, just for the people listening.
Well, once again, you know, I got to rep the home team. And so everybody that I named before, I want people to tap in. Like I said, Flo Millie, Rollo, No Cap, MGM Let, um, a brand, Secret Scientist, Gangland. Y'all need to tap in with my homeboy. He a producer, one of my best friends. His name Nate Too Cold. Gotta get my shout outs, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of brands at home. Like I said, Mobile, they just doing their thing. It's a streetwear brand that a lot of people have tapped into called Tulanis. Um, and like people are just loving it. And I just want everybody to tap in to know about where I'm from because people ask me about Mobile all the time. Like, what's Mobile like? You feel me? And I'm like, well, to be honest with you, I'm like, you heard of it, you just don't know you heard of it. Like, so we on the come.
Mm.
It's amazing. Um, yeah, we was the first to do Mardi Gras. I gotta throw that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as like, you know, food goes, I just want to keep saying like y'all support black businesses cuz they need y'all now more than ever. I don't got my own brand. I guess I am my own brand in a sense. But you know, tap in with your black people like all the food places in New Orleans. I try to go and support the black businesses. I live in the east, so you know we super black over here.
Sisters in the East.
Yes, in the east. And yeah, you asked me, is this something I want to disclose about myself? Um,
Yeah, that was one of the questions I'd sent, or just when we were coming up with like questions for the list. Yeah.
uh-huh. Um, I guess something I can say about myself is like I used to want to be just like Aaliyah in Chile so bad. And like if you look at my style, I guess you can kind of see the influence of that. 'Cause
Mm.
people always tell me like I got a 90s type of vibe or whatever. Um, and I guess it's because I'm just into the streetwear. Like I like baggy clothes, I like sneakers, I like to mix it up and match it and flip it in, put that thing down, flip it and reverse it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely do see the influence though, because I always think it's cool when I can see like girls can like they can get classy with it or dress
Hmm.
up with it, and they can
Hmm.
also they can dress tomboyish or just like they from the '90s. I really like that. That's so cool to me.
Right, right. Yeah, that's my stilo, dog. Like when I was young, I used to watch Aaliyah videos, and like I said, I wanted to be like Chili because she was a darker complected one of the TLC, and then she had all the baby hairs, and people always be on my neck about my baby hairs and stuff.
That's cool. It's funny because like a lot of people that I see that's like on that like I'm so '90s kind of style, like
Mhm.
they're usually really like down to earth, and like it's like sometimes I guess like your fashion is a little bit more than just fashion because it's like it seems to align with like a lot more of the things about you. Like
Yeah,
yeah, it's not like you just oh I just wear this or I just that's like from head to toe, mind, everything is just like it's timeless, kind of classic.
definitely. Like people who dress, they like anybody. You dress to tell a story. So like if you on some lounging shit, you dressing to show that you chilling that day. You feel me? Like if you on some extra super elegant type of stuff, you dress to show that you can show off. You feel me? So I don't know. It's a lot behind that as well. And when you talk about like hip hop culture influencing the way we dress, I think that says so much. Like it speaks volumes as well.
Mm,
Like when we talk about like the hoop earrings and the long nails and like I say the sneakers, the jewelry, a lot of that has to do with hip hop culture, black
mm,
people.
Yeah, I feel like hip hop culture has influenced the general population more than people want to give credit.
Hmm.
yeah. Um, that's interesting. Because I think I'm semi divided with like kind of that idea, and I think how I feel like that's true, but for me it's weird, especially like being black and digesting it and seeing like other people I guess who aren't black or like non people of color, do different things or like just like say the cultural appropriation thing or
Yeah.
when you see other people or like these brands they come up with like $100 do rags or like I don't know like big hoop earrings and scarves and all kind of shit that like
Right.
chicks in our community have always been wearing for like years. Or
Mhm.
like these new long nails that's like classy now. It's like what? Like that's the same shit that like my friends got called ghetto for in school, and now it's like it's cool because some white celebrities doing
You're not copping $100 durag, man. You gotta have the waves on swim.
it. The Louis V Dewey.
Yeah, gotta have it, man. But I kind of I can see why you say that, but I don't know. It is a tricky thing, but I still feel like they did have. Not saying I disagree with you, but I do feel like they have influence on a lot of things, whether it be people of different races too. Because I mean, you can see like even the white kids, they trying to be you know acting all, what's the word? I don't want to use the word hip hop, but you know,
Urban,
there,
urban.
there we go. Yeah, I was trying to find the right word, but yeah, they trying to act all urban, but so say the music has influenced them as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's influential. It's just for me, my whole premise, I guess, is that like learning how to feel and thinking about how I feel and learning like maybe how I should I should do with feeling that way, because it's like I'm not trying to gatekeep, but sometimes I feel weird when like this stuff that I do or like my kind of culture has been digested so much and like turned around into something different, or like say on Twitter, like, or TikTok, people were saying like Chile instead of child.
Yeah.
And like to me that's so weird because I was like, so people was using this word completely wrong or whatever. And like, just a whole bunch of different things.
Mhm.
And at first I felt weird. Like I was like, I don't want them in on what we're doing. But it's kind of like that the idea before, like imitation is a big form of flattery. So I like, it's like if that's what you want to do, that's kind of your thing. I'm not gonna get upset about it. And I think that's just like there's like pride in being black or being a person of color. Like we're celebrated, even though like people try to take what makes us us and flip it around. At the end of the day, we set the trends. We do a lot of the different stuff, and it's like trying to imagine a world without us is boring. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like having food that's unseasoned. Like, don't nobody want that.
I mean, some people, they got like dietary restrictions.
Mhm. Hey, so I got a question. Um,
Ooh.
so my sister and I, we were having a conversation recently about, the lingo and slang and how a lot of stuff comes and go. And so how y'all feel about like when music is made based on slang and language that we use right now? Like say for instance the hit different song. Like do y'all think that songs like that have longevity in music when we use like when we base it after stuff that's just current?
Mm.
That's a good question. I gotta think for a second. You can go ahead.
Uh, I mean, as far as longevity goes, I don't know. I'll just say that from point. But the ideas that I'm getting, that's a really good question because I think about that too a lot, or something similar. But like, for instance, when I think of that, I just think of like, what's something that's kind of dead, but I do know about. What's that song by? I think it's Naughty by Nature, OPP.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like on pretty much like I guarantee this complete year I haven't heard that song like played at all. But like I know the song, I know what it's about. But like
Right.
if someone used it, I guess it would just be like or if someone referenced the song, it would be ironic. Like,
Mhm.
you remember this? Like back then, this was the thing. So hit different. I think. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a little different now because slang has lost its meaning in some cases due to, I think, social media.
Mhm.
And this is me going into like the philosophical age
Yeah.
with things, because a lot of stuff is regional and like cultural and geographical. But like say glizzy, right? The word glizzy, I think
Yeah.
in Chicago that's like a hot dog, or like other places people think it's a gun.
Mhm.
And I think on Twitter, I'm always like Twitter. It's always, but like yeah,
Yeah.
people are coming up with different things with people eating hot dogs. It was like the glizzy goblin or whatever, the glizzy McGuire, all of these different things. And then there came like this dude who was like a white guy. He made a glizzy holder. That's what he called it, like a glizzy holster. So it's basically like a it's like a piece of plastic that like hides the hot dog that you eat.
I'm joke.
And I was just like, that's so unnecessary and extra.
Fact.
And but I was just like, fuck it, make your coin. If people want to get that.
Hmm.
But a lot of people were feeling like, wow, white people really took this word and ruined it now. Like
Yeah.
so I'm not aiming at just like white people, but I think slang can possibly, or this is my hypothesis or whatever. I think some slang can lose its meaning. Uh, I guess as information spreads rapidly
Hmm.
and stuff like that. But I don't know, like WAP, like that just came out in August. So how long is that gonna last?
Right.
Yeah. I would have to agree to an extent. I feel like, with slang, it does have some longevity in, culture of the masses. So like it also depends on the timing of when it came out and who said it. So for instance, like for me, WAP, I feel like that's gonna stay for a minute at least because you had two megastars that said it and the timing of when it came out was just perfect. So I don't feel like it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, I do agree with what Teddy said. When other people try to take the slang, it kind of diminishes its value in a
Hmm.
sense, which I really don't like, but you can't really help that. So that's just going to be a byproduct of when new words are made and new stuff comes out. So that's my take on it.
Um, it could go either way because it's like I remember I don't know when people started saying no cap,
Yeah.
I felt so like that's the thing. Like there's the little 12-year-old white kids that like say no cap and like the slang is heavy in
Hmm.
their usage and like I'm not knocking that. Like I said, I'm not gatekeeping. But it's funny. And I remember like in New Orleans, like especially like we have our own kind of like idiosyncrasies and different stuff we say. And then like one of my friends, they were like, yeah, blah blah blah, no cap. And I was like, what? I was like, bro, you you from New Orleans, don't say that shit. Like we don't say that.
Fuck.
But it's a thing now. Like I think it's interesting and it's probably gonna stay because of that too. Like the more people use stuff, some people it dies off for them, but for other people that makes it even cooler to use.
Yeah.
Like what swag or like people say drip, there's so many different things. But on Twitter, you got a whole bunch of verified like companies and accounts that use slang now to kind of like target
Yeah.
urban demographics and stuff too.
Mhm.
So I think that's a big part of it as well.
Mhm.
I don't know. How do you feel, Christy?
Um, so like when we talk about the longevity of slang and music, I think that it kind of okay. So you know how we talked about like stuff repeating itself and like coming back into mainstream pop culture or whatever you may have it. I think it can do that, but as far as like music being made just around particular words and stuff that we use, like that's the only time it'll be like longevity. Because it's brought back. Like it's not gonna be a recurring thing, just steady, like you said. Like in terms of OPP, like okay, it's a hit then, whatever. But the only time somebody like our kids or us may listen to it and be like, "Oh, I know this song is because it's like in a movie or something." You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so um, like the hit different, it'll only be something like we hear it later and be like, "Oh, I remember we used to say that when we were in college," or like, "No cap, how you was talking about that? I remember when I was young and capping used to be a thing. Like my sister would say something like, 'You loud capping,' or my big brother or something. They be like." oh, you capping, but it was like it meant the same thing. Like it meant you was lying, but it also it had a negative, like a super negative connotation. Like, okay, in Mobile we say something like woofing. So if you woofing, you like talking out the side of your neck. And so capping meant the same thing. Like you loud capping me. And so like now no cap kind of just means you lying. Like that's the only thing that it means now to me. And then people then also put their own little twist on it, saying like no kizzy and shit like that. So it's just interesting how lingo changes, and then also in music. But I think it's not that it has longevity, it's just that it comes back.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say off that no cap shit. Like I'm from Georgia, so that's where the word cap really
Yeah.
came from. I was getting blowed when I heard other niggas started saying cap. That that shit pissed me off. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, personally, like, I don't use it just because, like, like I don't try to really emulate shit that's like not like I'm not really used to.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
the for me to like say no cap, like the only way I would use it is ironically. If I'm saying something, I'm like, yeah, man, like that shit's crazy. No cap. Like, I guess I would have to add some sarcasm or something to it for
Yeah.
me to even use it because it's not in my diction. And I guess that's like a local thing. But I could see how for some people it's funny for that same reason. Or like, say, if I'm on TikTok and I see this little white kid or whoever, it's a little funny because it's like different from the ideas that I'm used to. But I'm trying to think of like some other slang, because I think Aries and I spoke about like funk back then,
Uh-huh.
and it's like you have some artists that have like funk inspired music or like some similar kind of funk music.
Mm.
Like maybe Anderson, is it Pack or Pot? Anderson Pack, I think.
Yeah.
But like I could see like Bruno Mars maybe. Some of their music has like that flavor to it, but like I don't hear anyone using the word funk like how they used it back then. Like back then songs was like I'm gonna funk you up or
Mhm.
like I'm bringing the funk or like back then they used to say like jive turkey and a whole bunch of like they call people squares or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that language is kind of dead now, but people use it sometimes to like add a little zest to like some of the stuff that they say.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I think it's also interesting too because it's like people use that word funk like to replace fuck and just not say it. So
Right.
I could see how with WAP that's gonna like if I don't want to say anything, I could just say WAP and it's like, oh, okay. Like maybe that's safe for me to say on the radio or like
Yep.
on TV.
Mhm.
So that's a great question.
Oh, also when we talk about like, lingo and how you mentioned, you know, stuff being local. And so when people that's from New Orleans like use stuff like no cap, it's strange to you. So like, me not being from New Orleans and like Aries, from New Orleans, but he live in Atlanta. Um, it's different when you like immersed into a culture. So like when I go home, I got my people saying, Christy, you sound like you from New Orleans. And I'm like, I could never sound like I'm from New Orleans. Cause New Orleans people sound like they from New Orleans. You feel me? But
Yeah.
because like I say, I'm from Mobile, and when I be here, living here for 4 years, of course I pick up on like the stuff that y'all say. But then I got all these friends from these different places, like my friends from Chicago, and then I got friends from Atlanta, and then my roommate, she's from New York. So us
Mm,
all the time. We picking up on each other's dialect and jargon. And so
yeah.
like they be saying stuff like me, like, I feel like it's a bad habit, but in Mobile we say on God a lot. So I got my friends and they saying on God, and then my friends from Chicago saying G, so I'm saying G, and then I got my friends from Atlanta saying no cap, so that's all mixed in the lingo. And so when I be talking and running it to people, they like, God damn, Christy, like you just spinning, you running it on me, and I'm like, I'm not even trying to. It's just that being in college all these years, you learn how to converse with different crowds, and like I said, like even with people thinking I talk like I'm from New Orleans, if I'm josing a nigga here, of course you pick up on your dude lingo. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
facts.
And
That's what's up.
that's been a really interesting experience for me, like throughout college. Like people like, where you got that from? And um why you talking like that? And it's like I'm not trying to talk like that. It just is coming out like that.
Yeah.
And it
Um.
comes natural too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh. It's interesting too because I think like personally my accent doesn't really come out usually unless like I'm upset or like I'm talking really fast, some crazy shit, and people. I guess for me sometimes like I could curb it. Like I
Hmm.
said, it comes out on certain stuff or like different instances because like I remember when like a lot of people came and they were like, "Oh, say baby," and I was just like, "Baby,"
Baby.
and they're like, "Oh, you don't have an accent,"
Yeah.
and then later we're talking and some other shit come up and I'm trying to think. It was some lady or some girl and I was like, "Oh, that's my girl. That's my little baby right there. That's
Yeah.
like that's." And like it came out
Exactly.
and it's like it'll come out for like a word of affection or like a term of endearment, like
Hmm.
maybe I'll add like the little zest unknowingly,
Hmm.
but other stuff it just depends.
Yeah.
And then I think in general too we're guilty of saying dumb shit, or like people come here to New Orleans and they get upset because they're like, oh y'all making groceries, that's the dumbest shit ever. You don't make groceries, you go to the store and buy groceries. Or like uh I'm trying to think of all the other stuff we say.
But a lot of people don't realize like the French influence. So like making groceries, that's French stuff. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I never heard it until I got down here. But I also like since it became like a prominent thing in my mind, like I'm conscious of it. It is people at home that say making groceries, and I'm like, I ain't never heard you say that. And they like, yeah, I do say that. But I'm like, you feel me? Like it became a thing in my mind when I got here, like making groceries.
Yeah, I think bags, I think like book bags or backpacks.
Yeah.
Personally, my whole life I've been saying book sack. Like
Oh God.
I don't even say book sack. I say book sack. It's a book sack. Like that's my book sack.
Every time I hear book sack, I just cringe. Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. Like the cold drink thing. I- And a cold drink don't mean that the drink is cold. That
Yeah, it's a cold drink is just a cold drink.
yeah, a cold
I hate
drink.
I hate that too because a cold drink could be anything. A cold drink could be water. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it just depends.
yeah. Cause I say soda, and then I got niggas up north and from the west, the Midwest, talking about no, it's pop. And I'm like,
It's
this is
pop.
soda. The fuck is you talking?
Don't no fucking body say pop.
I say soda or I say a drink with an A.
Now see, if you say drink down here, niggas think you talking about a daiquiri or something else.
Yeah. And like and even though in hip hop, if you got drink, you feel me, you pulled up like.
Yes.
And then you got people in Texas saying Texas tea, so it's just all type of stuff. Like it, it go back to hip hop, and and black people, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a history lesson, man. That's a lot. This nigga spitting, man. That's mad facts. I'm trying to think of like some other stuff that
oh, how do you feel about like since we were talking about how hip hop is in everything? It's even we're even starting to see it in like the political scene. So like
Ooh,
recently, Lil Wayne, he
that
got
was
off with a, how do you feel about, when hip hop artists or even artists in general, they make their political opinions, whether it be smart or dumb. How do you feel about that?
Um, I think people should stop idolizing celebrities. Just because you have a platform doesn't mean you have something important to say. Granted, you should utilize it to say something important, but you know, a lot of stuff is subjective. And just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean that somebody else will. But I think, like I said, all of it goes back to like idolizing celebrities. And I feel like, you know, that's really easier said than done because I feel like I kind of put, celebrities on a pedestal. Like, oh, let's say Beyonce, because Beyonce, of course, has a crazy influence and pull. And like I seen something she posted today about like Biden, and you got all these people reposting it, and it's like, I wonder how many people gonna do it just because Beyonce said it. And
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and I just, like I said, I feel like I'm guilty of it, but we need to stop idolizing celebrities and expecting them to say something smart or intelligent or coherent just because they have a voice. Like, people who are voiceless are only voiceless because we don't listen to them, not because they don't have a voice.
Mm.
that's fact.
Well, that's facts. Um, I mean, I'll play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the other side of that idea is just the thought of like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, did it really fall?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like if people aren't listening, then I guess people feel as though they don't have a voice, but it's like you have a voice. You just gotta keep talking until they listen, but that's easier said than done. So that's a tough argument. But you're right, I agree. I think people should just recognize that celebrities are people at the end of the day and that everyone's experience is very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think an example is like I guess those Disney childhood stars, like a lot of them stuff ends up happening to them and like they're on drugs and a whole bunch of different things, and I think a reason for that is because like they're probably having like a sheltered life or whatever while they're like working on different shows and they're celebrities and everything. Like being a celebrity is really hard for a lot of people, and it's just like imagine doing that as a kid, and a lot of people have like alter I can't even say ulterior,
Yeah,
Arterial.
ulterior.
Yeah.
yeah, ulterior motives and a whole bunch of different stuff. Like they may want money from you or all this other stuff, and you're a kid and you don't know who's really your friend for what.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for you to connect with people. And then the people that you do connect with, maybe they doing drugs or different shit. So
Mm-hmm.
you do it to fit in or whatever. Or it's like, say you're just rich. Say you got a whole bunch of money to blow. What do rich people do? Like now, like when I think of rich people and stuff like that, those rich celebrities, crazy stuff, like a lot of different things that are associated with them are drugs. Like cocaine, like that's a rich person kind of thing to do. So like uh the narrative that I'm trying to paint is just like it's easy for people, I guess, to get wrapped up in like those kind of mistakes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just like, they're crazy, blah blah blah. So like, I guess Demi Lovato with what she was doing, I think Justin Bieber at one point, and even then like Mac Miller, man, like it makes me really sad thinking about the idea that like someone like Mac Miller was going through something, and it's just like drugs got him. And I think they were saying like fentanyl was in this stuff or whatever or what have you. And a lot of people were like on that, oh, it shouldn't have been Mac, it shouldn't have been this, it shouldn't have. I think the bigger issue is kind of like just drugs in general. Like for Mac Miller, people were more upset about the fact that it was Mac Miller and like instead of drugs versus say if something like that happened with the weekend, when people kind of like they want him to be on like drugged out for the music, so to speak,
Yeah.
it's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. It is.
So that's why I think being a celebrity is real tough. And like I just think everyone's regular and normal. So like when Lil Boosie was talking about Dwayne Wade's son, I wasn't surprised by what he said because I know Lil Boosie's like he's from the South,
Right.
and like the idea the ideologies that he had, I wasn't surprised by. So back to Lil Wayne, I I'm not surprised. You know, he's in a different tax bracket,
Mhm.
so is what it is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, that I agree because I feel like a lot of these. I mean, it's hard. People nowadays. It's hard for them not to idolize celebrities because that's all you see 24/7. So obviously, you're gonna look up to somebody, or have that figure that you want to emulate or try to be like. But for as a political stance, like Christy said, you can hear what they gotta say, but you don't gotta agree with it. Like that Lil Wayne shit was just. I mean, I wasn't surprised by it, but I just think it was dumb, and I was also surprised that other niggas were surprised that he was acting like that because he been
Yeah.
like that for years.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
When people acted surprised, that was like a moment of where the fuck have y'all been for me?
Hmm. Mm. Uh, this is actually a really good question too. I want to split it into like two parts because first, what I want to say is kind of like like just the main idea. Like when you watch the commercials, right?
Mhm.
They're like, go out there, vote. It's real important. Everyone's voice matters, right?
Mhm.
The same people that say that get upset when they find out that you're voting for someone that they don't like, so to speak, you know? And I'm not really trying to point fingers, but it's kind of like, say, I want you to vote. Everyone's like, go out there, vote, vote. Your voice has to be heard, blah, 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 all that. You see people like, I'm voting for Kanye. And then they're like, what the fuck? Why are you voting for Kanye? That's not fucking smart. Or
Mhm.
that's so dumb. Well, I think both of those ideas can exist, you know? Like, personally, this is my, like, I get where it comes from, you know? But it's a bit of a catch 22 when you think, like, grand scheme, how can you say like your voice matters, but you get mad at someone for voting for someone that you don't like?
Mhm.
So we're getting back into kind of like that political aspect of it,
Yeah.
but it's just it's a tough kind of situation. I feel like there's always going to be like something that people aren't happy with, especially with like the kind of the bipartisan sort of voting system that we have.
Mhm.
But as far as celebrities and stuff like that goes, I feel like most celebrities are going to be in a different sort of situation than like the common people. I think that's why they're celebrities. They're, I guess, higher up on like the capital food chain. But Kanye running for president, I was just kind of just like, wow, that's fucking stupid to me. But I still like Kanye, some of Kanye's music, or like a large majority of it. Some
Mhm.
stuff here or there I don't really care for, but I don't let that interrupt me from enjoying his music. I think some of his ideas are a bit far fetched, but for me, it hasn't completely impacted like my I guess cancel culture ideas. So that's kind of what I'm leading to now. Like how do you feel about cancel culture? And this goes for like both of you, you know.
Well, so even though cancel culture is a collective thing, I feel like you have to ultimately decide, like, within yourself, like, why you want to cancel this person and what they mean to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, okay, if we talk about like Nick Cannon, um, and you had people like, he got a lot of backlash, and Wild and Out was canceled because of his anti-Semitic comments. regarding Jews, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if if those comments like resonated with you, you wouldn't be one of those people to cancel him. Or if you feel like, if that's not something that you're like divested in, like if that's not something of your interest, you not gonna cancel them. So like when I s- when stuff like that's happening, that's why I say like even though cancel culture is something that's collective, you have to like ultimately decide for yourself like what does this mean to me and why do I want to cancel them? Like, and so I see like the sentiments behind like, people canceling like Tory and, Bill Cosby and stuff like that because I feel like, you know, I guess because that resonates with me because I'm a woman and, it's like, oh, that could happen to me.
Mhm.
But
Mm-hmm.
like when it comes to other stuff, it's like, you think about like, do I want to cancel them because that doesn't have anything to do with me. So that's kind of how I feel about cancel culture. Like that's really like an individual's decision, and you can't make people do it like just because you want to. I don't agree with cancel culture because I don't think it lasts at all. But it's something that's so prominent these days. And then like cancel culture because of stuff that people um have said like years and years ago. I kind of straddle the fence with stuff like that because it's like y'all keep talking about people changing, but y'all not giving them the opportunity to change and stuff like that. It's hard. It's like I feel like it's a lot of contradiction in that argument.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. I feel like with cancel culture, I feel like it's I wouldn't say necessary, but it's since it's a part of our culture, it's become necessary. So
Hmm.
like for example, um who's the artist that got canceled? Like I feel like for example, they take R. Kelly for example. He is canceled because he is a known pedophile and rapist. So I feel like if y'all are gonna cancel him, y'all need to, you know, hold that same standard to other people when you cancel them, depending on what it is, of course. But I just feel like you can't just be picking and choosing what you're gonna be canceling, and who you not gonna cancel. I feel like if you're gonna cancel, cancel them. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
That's
Mm.
my thing on
Mm. Uh, as far as my beliefs go, with cancel culture, I'm kind of aligned with Christy. I think ultimately it's up to the person, to decide. But there's instances. Well, for one, I think cancel culture. The thing about it is that like a lot of people think everything is the same or everything is similar. If there's one thing wrong, like bam, we got to do something about it.
Yeah.
Every situation is unique, or at least that's kind of how I feel. Like every situation is different. There, a lot of them have the same kind of thing, but like if you think about it, I'm trying to relate this to something like I guess easier for me to kind of think of, but like I guess like basketball, like you could have teams repeat and win or whatever. Like say the Warriors when they had like the different rings that they won the championships, they won without KD and then they won with KD. Every ring is different,
it.
Mhm.
So I think every situation is different. You have the same team, like it looks the same, but every situation is a little different. So as far as that goes, like people were bringing up like Tory Lanez, Chris Brown, uh, Sada Baby, like those are different cases. So Tory Lanez, like he shot Meg, and there was a lot of like we don't know what's going on, and then like we do know. That was weird. There was Chris Brown. At first, it was like, oh, he beats women, he's done. But then they were like, him and Rihanna were fighting,
Yeah.
and she hit him, and they're both kind of in the wrong. But other people are saying like, well, he still beat the shit out of her.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you know, and if you're like a really big fan of his music, just like how Christy was saying, like some people may just be like, well, I really like this song. He keep it popping, so I'm gonna keep listening.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, who are you to tell somebody? But I think it's easier if you got on the other side R. Kelly. Like,
Yeah.
he made very sexual music
Hmm.
that is easy to understand it being about underage girls.
Yeah, I swear I was just gonna say that when you was done. I was itching to say it.
So it's so much harder to separate the musician or the artist from the music because that music is like
Mhm.
completely almost indistinguishable from like what he did.
Mhm.
Versus someone I think like Sada Baby, I think they were saying he was making like homophobic remarks or whatever, or he was saying different stuff about like Nicki Minaj and Beyonce. So people canceled him off the fact that, like, for one, Beyonce, and then there's other people too, like the homophobic thing. Like, obviously, if someone's homophobic, you might not listen to what they got to say because that's damn near just as bad as being racist.
Right.
So it's a conflict of beliefs, I guess, or like that's the system at hand. Because it's like, say hypothetically, I have a friend who's gay, and I'm listening to someone who makes completely homophobic music. My friend would feel some type of way about me listening and enjoying that music because it's like, well, if you're my friend, like, how could you support or endorse someone with those kind of beliefs? And I think this is why a lot of people get disheartened with celebrities, I guess, say like Lil Wayne endorsing Trump because they think Trump is like a, this is long, rapist, racist, pedophile, all these other kind of
Misogynist.
words.
All of the
Yeah,
above.
all of the above. And, he's trying to deport people and all this other, he's targeting so many different things. And it's like, how could you support him when you're one of us? Or like, I look up to you.
Mhm.
And it's like a culture shock. I think every situation is still different, but it's tough because, and this is the last kind of example I'll bring up. Sheck West, I guess he was canceled after Mo Bamba was like really big, and he had that album. I actually liked that album. I thought it was like a little sleeper album. It was pretty cool. People were saying that I think he beat up Justine Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So for me, I don't want to say I fully canceled him, but I stopped listening to him because I was like, he says bitch very aggressive. He's very aggressive on the track.
Yeah.
And it's like when I'm listening to him, I see him abusing her. Like I can see it. And he might not have did it. I don't know if like 100%. The only thing I saw was like a video of him going, I guess, to her house and he looked upset. I'm not gonna take away from that situation. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, even though, like, even from that case, like, I kind of thought like there was some proof in the pudding with that, so I left him alone. So it's up for everyone to kind of decide, I guess, unless it's something really heinous that they did.
Mhm.
Yeah, I find it kind of weird how like some people, when they know a artist did something wrong, like for instance R. Kelly, hate to bring him back up, but R. Kelly did something wrong, and then they still continue to listen to his music, knowing what his stuff is about. Like it's clearly about him, you know, his experiences with younger children. But I really don't like it when people say, "Oh, I'm not canceling R. Kelly. He's been a part of my, my upbringing and stuff like that. I'm not canceling R. Kelly." I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
that nigga been doing this since way before when.
exactly. Yeah, it's a really sick-minded thing. I feel like because it's kind of like he's doing this, but you still continue
Mhm.
to listen. That's just it says a lot about the person. I feel like.
Mm. Yeah. Uh, I think it's just tough. We live in an age where I think social media is a big part of people's lives. Like, there's obviously some people, I guess, who don't have any social media, and we look at them like they're weird, but it's like, it's important for like progressivism in the sense that, like, we're moving forward, we're trying to be inclusive, we're trying to stick up for everyone and make sure everyone has a voice. So it's like if a group is being marginalized, someone is expected to stick up for them. So with cancel culture, I guess it's like the byproduct of like, no, we're stopping this person from doing something, or you're not gonna have a area to do something, or like XXX Tentacion, like with him, with that whole situation,
Mhm.
it's like if you do something bad, the idea of cancel culture is kind of like, no, we're not gonna support you or give you like a means of success if you're a bad person. But the big, I guess, whole of it, and I guess hypocrisy that like Aries brings up is like people like Kanye who like everyone says they're gonna cancel, but like suppose like everyone still listens to the album that comes out, or there's still people that support. So like say 6ix9ine, because I know the argument that some people made was like George Zimmerman is out just chilling, Takashi 6ix9ine is out just chilling, and it's like other people that you know like no one's doing a thing. It's just like how is 6ix9ine able to just be out frequently and he's trolling and I guess like bothering people like completely fine.
Right. Right.
But we're canceling, I guess, other artists like Sheck West or this, that, and that. So the only thing I can say about cancel culture, like the last thing I can say about it is just like it's a sticky situation
Mhm.
and it's tough, but the more heinous it is, the easier I guess it is to make that decision. So
Yeah.
R. Kelly's canceled though. That's the easy one. We start with R. Kelly.
Oh yeah. The key is under the jail for him.
Well, I guess we can knock out maybe like one or two more questions with the time that we got left. Uh, I guess since we're still kind of on the topic of artists, do you have any interesting artist stories, Christy? Or like maybe concerts, or if you've ever interacted with any artists?
So concerts. I haven't been to very many concerts. To be honest, I've only been to one, and it was Jay Z and Beyonce when they came here. When was that? 2018. And
On the Run?
it was the On the Run 2 concert, and they came to New Orleans, and that shit was epic. Like for that to be my first concert experience, I don't know like anything that could probably top that. You feel me? Like to start there, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess I wouldn't be looking for like my other concert experiences to be the same thing. When I do go to another concert. Earlier this year, I was supposed to go to Snow Allegra's concert. She was coming
Yeah.
to the House of Blues here. And it was for my birthday, and I was so fucking hype about that. Even though I wouldn't know how that'd go, you feel me? Like cause she's so chill. And I guess I was just gonna be down in that bitch like basking in the ambience, like just laying back and forth on some shit. But I was really looking forward to that. I'm interested to see how like concerts are gonna go um after COVID. Like are people gonna be so comfortable being in such close proximity to one another? So yeah. But I'm ready to go to a concert. I ain't gonna hold you.
You're not lying. I know Aries. He was talking about like Pop Smoke. Like
Mhm.
he was supposed to go to a Pop Smoke concert, and then it was just like boom.
Man, I was supposed to go to. He had a concert in New Orleans. I remember I was getting ready to buy the tickets too. They were like $20. They were cheap. And like a week later, like right before the show came, he had got killed. I was so blowed.
Yeah,
Man.
that's so crazy.
But yeah, I can't wait for you know life to go back to normal. We can actually go to concerts and you know
Yeah.
have regular human interaction and stuff like that.
Mhm. Yeah, facts. In terms of like mean celebrities, I haven't really met like any celebrities beyond Currency. Um, I mean, let me see. Nah, I haven't met too many celebrities. I mean, I met DC Young Fly. That nigga cool as hell. He funny, but that was like, he not kind of hip hop stature. But like when we talk about being famous, like I feel like a lot of people try to play with me like that, like, oh, you gonna be famous, or you famous, this and that. And I don't have a desire to be famous. Like I think I have the persona if I was to ever be famous, but I don't wanna be famous, like honestly. I don't see myself being a celebrity.
You feel like it's too
Mm.
much pressure, or do you just feel like you don't want to be in the limelight?
I don't really want to be in the limelight. Like I don't have a desire to. You know how a lot of women, when they famous, people act like they gotta look good and be super fly all the time. Like I just don't have a desire to be none of that. So like I don't know. I would be the one that paparazzi catch slipping all the time. That it becomes normal.
Mm.
hmm
Oh, like Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish. Hey, I don't know too much about her, honestly.
Oh well, I know people were talking about her. I guess. Well, she was underage, I think, at one point,
hmm
and I think one thing was she was known for was like baggy clothes. I guess,
Right.
and I guess like as soon as she turned 18, people were like, "Oh yeah, now she could take off like the baggy clothes." And I think one day they spotted her with like in a tank top or something, and they were like, "She has the body of like a midwife, like a I don't know, like a middle aged housewife or something." And people were just like,
That's horrible.
"It's weird how I guess people on the internet were like quick to critique just a girl in a tank top or something, just minding their business."
Right.
Man, niggas
So
different.
I guess, yeah, niggas are different, but I guess that like that makes sense. That's like I guess a common truth that like we were talking about earlier, like being celebrities, you know, people who aren't think it's so easy for them because like, oh, you have money, blah blah blah, but like you don't know exactly how much money they have, especially with like rappers and
Right.
all different kind of actors, different shit like that. Like we don't know what's really in their pockets. A lot of people are like perpetrating, faking kind of stuff, but even then, it's just like at the end of the day, they're just people. So I understand what you mean by saying like you're not trying to be famous or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not worried about that.
Yeah. But like, yeah, in terms of celebrity experience, Currency probably the only rapper I ever met. But I really enjoyed meeting that nigga. Like when I met him, I met him twice actually. I met him once. Um, I want to say last year, and then I met him again, and it was just such good vibes. Like that sounds cliche as fuck to me, so I was hesitant to say that, but he's so down to earth, and he just like when he introduced himself to me, he was like, "I'm Shantae." Like he gave me his real name. I'm like, "Well, what's up, Shantae? I'm Chris." And like he was just like, we be around here. Don't be no stranger. And I just fuck with that. Like this nigga just invited me back to come back to this bitch. You feel me? Like I'm just cool as fuck.
Like you the homie.
Exactly. Like I'm the homie. And then another time, I think I was sitting in the store and like his people was up in there. I was just chilling in that bitch because one of his people told me to come up in there. They was like, what you doing? I was like, I'm waiting on somebody because I was out like outside on the block on Canal Street. And then it was like, you come up here with us. And so I'm sitting on the couch. And then when he come in, he dap everybody up in the room and the nigga dap me up and he don't say nothing much, nothing extra. And I just think that was fly. Like he really good people. He exactly what he seemed like. Is not a facade and the shit dope. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's really what's up.
But my favorite rapper, he coming to Mobile in December, and I'm trying to be there. And I ain't saying I'm trying to meet him because I ain't, I don't want to sound like no groupie or nothing. But if the nigga got me up, if he look my way, I'm gonna be like, "What's up, Lito?" But no, that'll be live to me.
Dang, that's what's up. I'm trying to think. I don't think like off the top of my head I have experience like that, but I've met some people and had similar kind of interactions, and I
Mhm.
think those are always like the funniest ones or like the coolest ones, where it's like you meet someone and it's like the interaction is so seamless, like it's like you've known them for a while.
Facts, facts.
So I've interacted with people and had that kind of happen. What about you, Aries?
Hmm. Well, I remember when I used to work at Champs, they used to have a lot of celebrities come in there. So, but from my instances, I only met uh it was like three celebrities. I met Young Chop, he's a producer from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
met Southside once,
Something
and then
about you.
yeah, and I also met T Pain came in there once, and I was blowed about that because I wanted to see if I could get a picture with him, so niggas didn't think I was capping. But
Yeah.
my phone was in the back room, so I was kind of blowed about that. So
Mm, you should have took a. You should have asked him to take a picture on his phone. Be
no,
like,
I
text it
should
to
have.
me.
Yeah, I should have.
A lot of the people I grew up with, they like, kick around famous people. Like, a dude I was close to when I was a kid, he like a producer for Lil Baby. His name Matt. And then like, Al Gino, he from Mobile. And then Flo Millie, she people with my people, but I don't be around them folks, so I ain't gonna do no false claiming.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of stuff like that happens, but seems like we're coming down to the end of the wire. If there's any little, any more shout outs, any other things that you want to say, get off your chest. You have the floor.
Ooh, I got the floor. Y'all gonna let me have the show?
Yeah.
um, I don't really got too much to say. Everybody, keep y'all head on straight. During this pandemic, during this election year, keep your head on a swivel. Stay black if you black. um, I really enjoyed this. I thank y'all for having me. Y'all know y'all my dudes. Every
Oh, of course, of
song,
course.
yeah. But yeah, I'm privileged to be here. Y'all tap in with me. My name is Seeing Doubles on all of my stuff.
Hmm.
CEINGDOUBLES. So
Yeah, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to put your socials in the comment description.
yeah, hopefully this won't be the last time. But yeah,
Yeah. We're always looking for people that we're cool with,
mm,
and I guess people even that we're not cool with. We're gonna bring some people on, but you were definitely one of the first people that were like, yeah, we got to get them on for the Urban Dimension podcast.
fact.
But just like currency, like you family, you like kinfolk, you cool with us, So I see you doing your thing. We both seen you, and it's like you show love, we show love, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, man. I'm proud of y'all for taking this step because a lot of people they thinkers but they ain't doers. So I'm proud of y'all for doing this. You feel me?
Hmm.
It's gonna take off.
All right, well, all right, that's the end of the podcast. Appreciate it.
All right, love.
All right, peace.
Bye.